Hello, and welcome to another bicycle video. Today we're up in the paved roads of the California mountains, and we're testing out Vuelta wheels. These are the heavy duty, or what they call the HD 36 spoke road wheels. They're made for narrow tires. I'm running 725C tires on these, but they are made for very heavy riders or very strong riders. I'm not strong and I'm not that heavy, but between being skilled and being able to transfer power through the powertrain, I can put a lot of torque to the rear wheel. And if the rear wheels are not very strong, they will start breaking spokes within just a few months of using them. So I bought these wheels to replace another set of Vueltas I had on here, which were called the Starlights. The Starlights were a 24 spoke wheel, and it was a very strong wheel, but the only problem was they didn't use spoke prep, or they didn't use any lube on the spoke nipples, and every time I tried to true those wheels up, the spokes would twist and they wouldn't ping back. After truing them, you put the wheels on the stands and you push down on them both sides to try and release that pressure where the spokes are twisted. And I had a lot of trouble releasing that pressure on those. These don't use bladed spokes. These are one of the rare Vuelta wheels that use round spokes. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the wheel correctly. It's spelled V-U-E-L-T-A. And I've been using their wheels exclusively now for the last 4 or 5 years. They are a no frills, very strong wheel for very low cost. These at full retail would run you about $200 for the pair. I've been buying them on special when they go on sale for $150 for the pair. And after 1 year and the start of this season, these wheels have turned out very well. I bought actually 2 sets of these wheels. One is on this road bike, one is on a hybrid bike, and it's working out just as well on the hybrid bikes. Now both these bikes are used in the extremes of the mountains out here, so some of the climbs are very steep, and climbing out of the saddle on a steep climb is very hard on a rear wheel, especially with a 195-pound rider that knows how to transfer power. So as far as a good set of wheels, these are going to work out very nice. What's really nice about Vuelta is they look great too. So not only are you getting a great value on a strong wheel, you're getting a great wheel that looks great. So these wheels are designed for heavy riders. These are probably overkill for riders under 160 pounds. But if you're a 160-pound, really muscular, hard driving rider, this is still the way to go. These wheels are going to last a lot longer before you have to start rebuilding them. And that's what happens with a wheel when you use a wheel for a lot of miles and you work with it very hard. You're out of the saddle climbing, out of the saddle hard accelerations. All of this wears really fast on the rear wheel. Now the front wheel doesn't take much stress at all. The front wheel could probably last 2 to 3 times longer than the rear when it comes to spoke breakage. Now what happens is the spokes are always moving. They're always moving a little bit, and eventually they either cut or they break. I'm not sure what is the force that actually breaks a spoke. I don't know if it's the tension pull, but nearly 100% of my spoke breakage, and I break a lot of spokes because I'll ride the wheel until it breaks the first spoke. Once it does that, I know it's at its final age, and I have the wheel rebuilt with new spokes. Now if the hubs are worn real bad, I'll just buy a new set of wheels. For this price and 36 spokes, if I buy high quality DT spokes at $2 a piece, the rebuild is almost the same price as the wheel. That's what's that's pretty crazy when you think about it. So rebuilding a cheap wheel like this may not be worthwhile. Might be better just to replace them and use the hubs as spares. These hubs are on these 36 spoke wheels are the first Vuelta wheels I've tried with the cassette bearing. This is the cassette bearing. This is the no maintenance bearing. This is a bearing that you never lube, and you just use it until it wears out. When it's going to wear out, I don't know. The only other cassette bearing I ever used was on a specialized stump jumper bike, which came with cassette bearings, and those things lasted about 10 years before they started making some noise. So I've had really good experiences with cassette bearings, and that's what's in these. These are the cassette bearings, but not all Vuelta, especially these cheaper wheels, come with cassette bearings. All my other Vuelta wheels, which I have another 700C on my Motobacan road bike, and that's a 24 spoke with a radial 24 front. And I'm also using Vuelta on my adventure bike, which is a 32 spoke 26-inch off-road wheel. My adventure bike that I use for long distance touring in the mountains, I'm using mountain bike wheels and a wide, strong 26 by 2-inch tire. The 26 by 2-inch tire in the mountains with fast descents, and just looking for a good dependable tire that you can hit a big rock and not get a flat. So I'm using a wide, fat tire for my long distance riding, but I also trade up with these bikes too. This bike is geared way low, and it's really good for long distance day touring in the mountains. So the cassette bearing is one of the smoothest bearings I've ever seen. When you twist the bearing when it's off the bike, it's just silky smooth. And you can see, if you watch this front wheel, I hope it catches on the video. If it doesn't catch it on the video, I'll retake the video when I get home. But what you're seeing is the counterweight of this wheel moving back and forth. And the only reason a wheel would do this without stopping is the bearings are very, very smooth. The bearing smoothness on these are almost as good as my Campanolo Super Record ball bearing greased bearings that I used to use in racing. Okay, the wheel did stop. With the Campanolos, I would put the bike on the rack, and the front wheel would drop continually for about the next 10-15 minutes before it would actually stop. Campanolo's probably got some of the best bearings in the world. But for recreational riding at slower speeds, these bearings are more than any recreational rider would ever need for smoothness and lack of resistance. So here we are on a 700C very strong wheel, 36 spokes, good for a 25mm tire with excellent bearings that you do not have to do any maintenance on until they wear out. And I would guess that these bearings are going to outlast the spoke breakage by probably 5 to 1. But we'll see. You take a very strong wheel, a very strong rim like Vuelta uses, you put 36 strong spokes in there and a good wheel build, and I don't know, a wheel usually lasts me only 3,000 miles before the rear starts to break spokes. Now, because I split my riding up between 6 and 7 bikes, none of these bikes see a whole lot of mileage every year. They only see a couple of thousand. So there's only probably 2,000 miles on these wheels now. So as I enter the second season with them, we'll see how they go, and See how many miles we get out of them this year. Hopefully I get another season without spoke breakage. And that's the Vuelta wheel. Thank you.